This NFL Rookie Props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick 'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, golf, MLB, MMA, NHL, and more. Sign up today at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Royal Retros. Royal Retros has jerseys, t-shirts, hats, jackets, sweatshirts. From the old school teams that you love, use promo code SGPN for 10% off your order today. That's code SGPN at royalretros.com to take 10% off today.
Hey everybody, Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this, let it ride.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Sup, rookie.
All right.
That's how I would welcome a rookie.
No.
A little mad dogging. Let him know who's boss. Maybe saran wrap him to the goalpost.
Oh, that was always a fun one. Saran wrapping them to the goalpost.
Do they not do that anymore?
Well, Ryan, that's probably considered like a hate crime.
No,
we used to do
sexual? It's not like
I'm sure like anything it could be if you're
glass bottom boat action.
Depending how into it you are. We used to do hog tie with athletic tape. So you would tackle the person, hold them down. You know, much like in a rodeo, you would grab. I remember this they grabbed him like a steer, and then just athletic tape all over your hands. Turn the shower on and just let you figure it out.
There's so much testosterone and just sexual energy. That's all it is.
Well,
I had to go into I was at a high school or middle school watching my daughter play soccer, and I went to go use the restroom, and it was like a locker room too. And I walked in on these, they all got scared because I was an adult, but like all these fucking boys just fucking about, try to shove this one guy in a locker. And part of me was like, well, shit, I can't grab my phone and try to video this. It's a bad example, but things have not changed. Good to see though. I felt
to see good. Kids are still getting shoved in lockers.
Could be worse. I've heard worse.
We got we're talking. There is no off season, Ryan, in the National Football League. We got a couple news stories to get to, and then we're gonna talk some rookie props, some NFL futures for the rookie market already out. It's post draft season, time to get hyped up. We just did our first ever Best Ball Mania draft. Of course, Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. Get in there, get the 100% deposit bonus while you can. Promo code SGPN. Best Ball Mania 5 giving away $15 million in prizes.
How you feeling about your team?
The first team I drafted?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It was an interesting team. I had Joe Burrow in there, and then Jaden Daniels. And we'll probably talk a bunch of Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels has some massive upside. I don't know what his shelf life is going to be in the NFL, Ryan. Like I wouldn't take some of his full season long stuff, but certainly in best ball, he's very interesting because if he does stay healthy, does start 17 games for the Washington Commanders, I think fantasy wise, he could have a pretty good year.
He's a solid number 2.
For best ball, yeah.
Gives you some tremendous upside there. I certainly like he's everything you want in a best ball player. It's going to burn really hot, and it might be a 0 a handful of weeks in there, but unfortunately, he plays for the Commanders.
Yes, that is unfortunate, but I could see him having an RG3 like season where he's running all over the place. Maybe wins a couple games they shouldn't, and then flames out with a horrible injury. Unfortunately, I just think he's too small. Yeah. When they were comparing him to Bryce Young, that to me is an immediate red flag.
Big friend. He's a little taller, but yeah, I mean it's.
He just doesn't have that thickness. Like Kyler Murray's got some girthiness, Ryan.
Look, that Looney Tunes,
and even Kyler Murray's struggled to stay healthy.
That Looney Tunes video, and we'll have to resurface it, of him just getting blown up and like the coins popping out.
It's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes. He I believe it's there's maybe a couple references in there. Anyway, I just, yeah, I don't know. I worry. I worry what's going to happen when he gets, Dexter Lawrence puts that body weight on him,
Well, Ryan, I know,
and they throw a flag,
and you'll be, if he gets hip drop tackled, you'll be saying that's a good rule. And
what are you talking about?
You are somewhat, you were countering people being upset about the hip drop tackle rule. I think you're getting in a dangerous space, because I think there's gonna be a play where
people are shouting at the clouds, and I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. That was my take. Yes.
I think there's gonna be a couple times where everyone loses their mind because of the hip drop
and specifically everyone referencing that tackle in the Super Bowl with the Titans and the Rams, where he was tackled on the 1 yard line. It's not a hip drop tackle. Thank you. It's not. It's not. They're never going to call it. That's
that
never
100% would have been called.
No, it wouldn't have been.
I disagree. I disagree.
100% will not be called.
Anytime they bring in a new rule, they go out of their way to call it.
But that's not even a hip drop tackle. He's never even on his hip.
I'm telling you,
that's not a hip drop tackle.
Ryan, both can be true. Both can be true.
It's not. It doesn't look like one. It didn't look dangerous.
What about landing on your body weight? Have they called that when it hasn't actually been the case? 100%.
Absolutely, but it's looked bad. Like
that looks like a hip drop tackle to most people.
No,
the fact that read the comments. You don't think everyone thought the same thing watching that play? Everyone thought
it's just people wanting to shout at the clouds. Okay. That's my take on it.
All right. So Ryan's take is that hip drop tackle, we won't hear anything.
I agree.
More.
It's a subjective call, and it's always messy when you introduce rules like that. But my take isn't that
you say it's not going to be a big deal in the season.
Yeah, okay. I do not. I think it's going to be like every other change in the NFL. We're going to see some shit in the preseason, maybe week 1, week 2, and then poof, it's going to fucking disappear.
Okay, I hope so.
That's the way it works.
I hope you're right, Ryan.
That's the way that Commissioner Goodell works. They
won't call it in the playoffs, but there's going to be a couple games, and I hope it doesn't happen to your precious Giants, Ryan.
Oh, it will. Don't worry.
You are really creating some bad hip drop tackle penalty karma
because I'm not getting angry at it and shouting at the clouds.
Yes.
Okay.
Because when you
Colby, you got room on that.
When you do get screwed by it, it's going to be that much more more painful, Ryan. Unfortunately for you.
No, it won't. It would be more painful if I was genuinely angry about it.
Well, we'll see when it happens in real life.
Also, don't hip drop tackle them.
All right, tell your Giants. Tell your goons on the Giants. Right?
I think a lot of the players that are coming out and saying this is an impossibility in the game are being a little silly. I think that there is some percentage of these tackles where dudes are legit like just being a lazy ass tackle. And I think it's going to be something that will be very easy to change, and that's why I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Okay, I hope.
Bottom line,
I hope you're right, Ryan.
Yeah, well, join the side of justice.
Another controversial viral news item that everyone seems to be weighing in on is I think it was Austin Rivers was angering the football community, Ryan, saying that he thinks he could find 30 NBA players who could play in the NFL, and he couldn't find 30 NFL players that could play in the NBA.
So I think you probably are accurate about NFL players making it in. Oh, look at that. We have light. Do I think there's any NFL players that could play in the NBA? Do you? Can you name any?
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm like seriously. Do you which guy is the first guy? First pick if you're drafting the NFL for an NBA team.
I'd have to think about it, but I mean, again, guys like Antonio Gates come to mind. Like a guy like Jelani Woods. I mean, these guys played at a high level in college basketball.
But they were mostly not that high level. They were never going to sniff the NBA.
Right. I mean, could they hang? I think they could play and give you a couple minutes. Would they be a dominant player and a starter? I think those are some of those tight end positions. I mean, there's a number of NFL players that can dunk. To me, if he can dunk, I mean Cooper DeJean, Ryan, I think he could play in the NFL.
I just think they're both pros at their sport. They're probably nowhere near sniffing the LeBron playing tight end was always fun. But no, I don't think you could find 20 people that could play in the NFL. First of all, the league is soft. The NBA is soft. There's no way an NBA player could handle the gruel of the NFL season. I mean, look at Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Let's just surface Kawhi Leonard as Exhibit A. Soft.
Chris Long,
he's a defensive stud. Soft.
Chris Long had a great tweet. He's like, you can't just introduce your body to that kind of physical contact.
Just
he's
car
like,
accident after car
he
accident.
Goes, Adrian Peterson, by the time he became an NFL player, was like a calcified human being. I don't think you realize that just your body has to be used to that intensity. Guys like Gronk, I do think could play in the NBA. I think Gronk could play in the NBA.
I mean, it certainly would be fun to see what the NFL could field as it. That would. I mean, this is like a perfect. Like,
I mean, again, I think
hot take show conversation.
Like the hand-eye coordination you need in the NBA, it would whittle out some of these guys for sure. But especially as the game's gotten less
quarterback.
Physical.
So quarterbacks obviously then have an advantage, right? The hand.
Yeah.
You know, probably defensive linemen like Miles. The first guy that came to mind for me was Myles Garrett. Because of that crossover pass rush movie he used last year. Because I think the defensive linemen are probably some of the most athletic people out there. You think receiver?
I mean, like Terrell Owens, right? I saw Terrell Owens play at the North Hollywood 24-hour.
I'm sure he looks good at a fucking Y.
Well, I think he's a guy that if he dedicated himself to a full season of training, I think he could be able to hang in the NBA.
Sure.
Okay, I'm really trying.
I think the list is probably more. It's most. If I had to guess, your team is mostly made up of defensive pass rushers and quarterbacks. I think that's what the team would be.
I think there's some receivers because of the hands.
Eli was sneaky good at basketball. Guy could dunk, dude.
Tony Romo's good at every sport except football, right?
Who which quarterback's number one? Josh Allen probably be a thunderous dunker. He's 6'7", dude, and he's gonna barrel through you.
Yeah, I guess he could have a game like Luka.
Yeah,
I guess I can see that.
You don't think he's got some Joker game to him? Josh, barrel through over there.
Also, Ryan, I'd been an advocate early on in the process with the Rashee Rice thing. I thought, hey, 2 to 4 games. Then the league was saying, all right, now it's looking like 6 to 8, maybe even a full half season there.
I'm gonna throw a challenge flag.
What?
You said 2 games max, confidently. 2 games max, confidently.
Yeah,
was your projection.
I had it up to 4. I thought he was going to get off fairly light. Like normally a car accident like that ends up being.
So what changed? Because I think I kind of agreed with you but there obviously since then we learned that some people got pretty fucked up.
Yeah. I think initially what I read about the reports of the car accident was like, hey, no one died. Okay. That's pretty good. But then you read about,
turns out that was the nicest way to say it.
Yeah. You read phrases like won't be the same and stuff like that. And you're like, oh shit. All right. So, and just by the league's leaking of like, hey, this is going to be a little bit more of a suspension, and then he adds on top of it.
Well, this is not a coincidence.
What do you mean it's not a coincidence?
This is how you justify the much longer suspension. You have this other thing that comes out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, or he's a complete fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, I think
right. Like
I think he's a complete fucking idiot because this happened on Monday. So the news about him having a longer suspension that got leaked out, and then on Monday at 2:30 a.m., supposedly he assaulted a nightclub photographer or a photographer in a nightclub. I'm guessing someone was trying to take his photo. He was drunk and got into it. That would be my takeaway.
I know it generally ages poorly because then a video gets released, but in the same sense as Alvin Kamara, like someone made a bad decision. It turned into a crime, but someone made why are you fucking with something? Like this is the problem, is that people have reached a point. You see it every day. You see some sort of fucked up altercation every day that for whatever reason, this person has not yet been punched in their fucking mouth. And yet, unfortunately, these athletes have to be the ones to punch them in the fucking mouth sometimes.
Well, but I mean, that's why if Rashee Rice, maybe you keep her low profile.
Absolutely.
After.
But just in general, Sean, you've seen it. It's crazy.
Yeah, people. I do usually sympathize or empathize with the athletes there because
10 times.
If you've seen famous celebrities, and especially if there's a lot of drinking, inevitably one guy wants to be the guy that talks shit to Rashee Rice, tries to get him to do something.
The biggest thing is that like celebrities get off on being watched and being a celebrity. I don't care what the fuck they say. Athletes don't want that sauce for the most part. Some do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot don't. And so when you're getting that and maybe you don't want it, maybe you're pissed off because you're dealing with this suspension because you made this really bad choice. And then this motherfucker gets up in your face and then you just, it triggers another really bad decision. How many games does he miss? How bad is the tape? Do we see him fighting this guy, or is this some bullshit?
I haven't seen any tape.
Is this like a Devontae Adams? Like the guy was fucking crossing the road and didn't look twice.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, they
under 8 games.
Well, now it certainly looks like they'll probably put these both. It certainly doesn't help his case with the other incident. Now I do think he's going to miss 8 games.
More or less than serial massage therapy. AK 11 games. I feel like that becomes an interesting benchmark for all suspensions going forward.
Well, it's so tough when you compare these because
higher or lower.
The Ray Rice one, that was a crazy one.
I got a fantasy projection for underdog.
Okay.
Higher or lower games missed for Rashee Rice. 8.5.
Ooh, I'll take the under. I'll take lower.
The lower. We were here at 6 to 8 with just the driving incident. Unless there's nothing to this club incident and we're just hearing about it because Rashee Rice's name is in the news and
Showtime Mahomes.
Right. Chiefs get a lot of primetime games. They want to have some receivers for him. I'd say lower than 8.
Well, that's why they drafted this 165-pound speedster.
Yeah. Come on. We'll see. Schedule release is coming out. I want to see how many primetime games they have, and then I will release my official play on the higher, lower number of Rashee Rice games suspended.
I had a theory. So there was so we found out about the schedule release today.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
There was a memo that went out. Oh, there goes the commissioner doesn't like us talking about this. There was a memo that went out that basically told teams to expect the schedule release a week later than what everyone expected. Could it be to distance itself from this Rashee Rice news?
No, I think it's completely
unrelated.
Yeah.
What would they delay it for?
No.
Because the commissioner creates a week of content in May, baby.
No, have you ever seen it is a inexact science. There's always like, they're not quite done with the schedule. They got to move things around.
It's 2024 and we have AI. Like that's not a good excuse anymore.
Yeah. They always like run the commercials.
It's not a guy with a spreadsheet who's got to redo the whole thing.
Watson helps make the schedule.
Shit. Bob needs a week to redo this. Now you want to change the Jags London game to week 12.
All right, let's get into it. Talk some rookie prop bets before we do that. Of course, shout out to Game Time. Have you signed up over at gametime.co? Promo code SGPN. If not, what are you waiting for? Get those Game Time tickets. Love Game Time. It is. We got NHL playoffs. We got NBA playoffs. Imagine not only the NHL NBA playoffs, but theater. I'm going to be checking out Grateful Dead, Ryan, at the Sphere. I'm going to grab some tickets over at gametime.co. I'm going to use that promo code SGPN. Get me $20 off your first purchase. It is your go-to app for last minute tickets, which is the best time to buy tickets. You're like, hey, they just got a game 7. We got to go check out the game. Go to gametime.co or download the Game Time app. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off. Game Time.
All right. So we'll start with the quarterbacks. Much more interesting, and honestly, I think kind of I will be surprised to see what the limits are on these because they're really kind of putting themselves out there a bit. Caleb Williams, obviously, and we'll rattle through all the. Actually, we'll go bottom to the top because they included some guys just so their parents could put some bets on them. Devin Leary, Joe Milton, and Jordan Travis in the 150 to 1 range. How are we feeling about it? Any of those guys playing a snap this year? I heard a couple. I've heard multiple sources talk about Milton potentially being able to maybe be looked at some other positions like tight end. I have to imagine they drafted him. Jacoby Brissett, I thought was the Hail Mary guy. Yeah, that they have an interesting quarterback room up there in New England. He's not seeing the field. Jordan Travis is somewhat interesting.
Ryan, Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles tear. What if Jordan Travis? What if Aaron Rodgers gets injured again?
Also coming off a serious leg injury, Jordan Travis.
Yeah, that probably doesn't help his case.
They solved their backup quarterback problem.
Comes out throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams. 150 to 1 of these three, Ryan, which is the most interesting one?
Well, I don't think the other. I mean, I think Jordan Travis has the best path to playing by a
really. I mean, Lamar Jackson's had a bunch of injury issues. Ryan, maybe the Wuhan lab is cooking up a new strain.
Well, he's still going to get the old strain. I mean, he certainly his body liked that old strain.
Joe Milton,
but Joe
Milton beating out both Jacoby Brissett and Drake May for the starting job. Never looking back. No. We've seen the New England Patriots not be afraid to play the guy who was the long shot, the fifth round pick. Ryan,
here's my counter to you. Baltimore has Josh Johnson and Sean. Remember Malik Cunningham? We liked him last year in the preseason. Yeah. He's also on the. I don't think Devin Leary is a lock to make the team.
Fair.
I think if I was Joe Milton, probably not going to be playing over Drake May, and I think they want to play Brissett. So yeah, if I was sprinkling any of these, it's certain you could at least find the narrative, right?
But the Jets have Tyrod, so even the Jets, I would say out of these, Milton would be.
That makes me like it more. Tyrod gets hurt. Yeah. Tyrod plays a certain brand of football. If
Tyrod and Aaron Rodgers get hurt.
Did you watch Tommy DeVito get in the game for the Giants? That was after Tyrod came in, looked good, and then got fucking hurt. Because Tyrod gets hurt every time he had to come in for the Giants, which was a lot over the last couple of years. He got hurt.
Have we seen Jordan Travis throw an orange, Ryan?
He's a dog. I mean, we liked what he was saying to the committee.
All right.
Let's sprinkle this.
No. I'm not taking it. No.
$10 bet.
No.
Put me down.
Okay.
All right, Michael Pratt, 100 to 1. Green Bay.
Yeah,
we liked him in college at Tulane. They're not going to lead in passing yards and anything. Probably shouldn't take Jordan Travis, but that's a fun one.
I mean, he's got to beat out Sean Clifford, Ryan.
That's easy.
Is it?
Yeah, I would have been fine if the Giants took Jordan Travis. Michael Pratt, any interest?
No.
He's a fun guy. Highly unlikely. Michael Penix, 80 to 1. All right, let's get serious.
He's the 8th pick overall.
Delete Jordan Travis. Let's be serious.
All right.
Michael Penix at 80 to 1 is ridiculous. Kirk Cousins, Achilles injury, didn't have the surgery until November 2nd, I believe. Although I saw some reports saying he didn't have the surgery until November 12th. Sean, do some basic math for me. How many months is it from November 12th to August 12th? That's 9 months.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing some preseason games. He's going to look really good.
Those glasses,
Ryan. What are the chances? What do you think the Giants would give up for Kirk Cousins in the trade market? Let's say Michael Penix looks really good.
Are they giving
Atlanta has a chance to fix everything? Kirk Cousins requested trade.
So in this version of your reality, Drew Lock isn't balling out. He hasn't started balling out yet.
Drew Lock, like his previous other two.
When does that happen? Week 1. I think that's week 2 or 3. He starts balling out. I forget. We have to look at the almanac behind you. How do you not take Michael Penix here at 80 to 1? If he plays,
he was the 8th pick overall. We've seen
he's old. He's ready. That's what they said about him. He's old and ready. He's going to sit down behind Kirk. Yeah, I don't know. He has tools, weapons in an offense that's probably going to let him cook a little bit, right? Bijan getting him some easy stuff. Kyle Pitts back, gold jacket. I love this. This is one of my. We might have to put an irrational amount of money on this at the Circa. I might have to do that.
Yeah, it's a fun long shot. I'm trying to think. I almost like his. What would his rookie of the year pricing be?
Nowhere near this.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'll pull it up.
Well, because that obviously is it's tough to get the most passing yards without starting for most of the season. Whereas
he's 60-1 for rookie of the year.
Yeah. See, honestly, I kind of like rookie of the year a little bit better because I think you could come in. Why are you looking at me like I'm crazy?
That's you think that because this whole bet is based on the fact that Kirk Cousins isn't ready. I guess we're kind of cooking up the idea that he starts from the get-go.
I think rookie of the year, you can get it coming in week 6, week 7 for Kirk Cousins, who gets injured like you did last year. You're giving yourself way more outs.
Why not take both?
Okay, you could. Yeah. I would rather take rookie of the year, but I'm still taking this one. In what scenario does he lead the rookies in passing yards and not get rookie of the year? I think very few, but you could get rookie of the year if you come in again, week 6, week 7.
Well, that's probably why
Brock Purdy almost won rookie of the year and he started 5 games.
Yeah. That's why you're losing all that
20
sweet equity.
Yeah. And I think it's a better bet overall.
So you're out on Penix 80-1?
No, okay. Are you listening?
No, I was playing your game there.
I'm playing this, but I also I like the 60-1 better.
Spencer Rattler 60-1, who is getting there's buzz happening because Derek Carr sucks, of course.
Yeah,
we know he sucks because he's on my first best ball roster.
No
interest
for me. No.
Drake May. Now we're down to the guys who I guess have cheaper prices because it's interesting to me. Drake May is 16-1 because everything they've said, everything they've done, they have Brissett. Seems like the Drake May at most is playing 8 games this year. When do you think the Patriots get a bye week? Late. Robert Kraft is like, hey, give me like a week 11 bye week so I can bring Drake May in there at that point.
Yeah, I think whatever we'll see when the schedule release happens, but he'll probably come in after the bye week. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that Brissett was solid holding up for those weeks last year for Deshaun.
But also we've seen, I mean, if you remember the Mike Glennon, Mitch Trubisky thing where, oh, hey, Glennon's going to be the starter. We don't want to rush Mitch Trubisky. We don't want to start him too soon. And then these guys come in, have a couple good preseason games. If you're the Patriots, and I mean, that's the thing too. If you're the Patriots, you don't think you're doing much this season and you drafted Drake May 3rd overall. I mean, if I was the Patriots, I'd start him week 1. Cause why not?
I mean, I guess if you're believing what a lot of people said about him and he needs development, that would be
but to me, yeah, I guess I'm always the believer you develop on the field. You develop by playing in the NFL. I think it's tough to develop watching and not getting practice snaps. So I would start him early. We'll see if they actually, I feel like a lot of teams talk about, oh, we have this quarterback in waiting. We don't want to rush. And then he has one good preseason game or he looks kind of good in training camp and all of a sudden he's in.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that hard out on Drake May. Like he's the least of all. I like him only more than Joe Milton and Devin Leary. Okay. That's what I would say. Yeah. And maybe Jordan Travis at that price.
I at
price adjusted
at the price. I don't like it, but I guess I wouldn't be shocked if he starts week 1.
And I also don't love his receiving room.
Yeah.
You know, he, of all the quarterbacks we've talked about, he's got the worst receivers bar none. All right. Bo Nix 8-1. Sean Payton. He's going to cook up some easy shit. That's what you sell yourself on. He reunited with Franklin from Oregon. He's got Marvin
real quick on Drake May. Mac Jones did lead the rookies in 2021 with passing yards at 3,800. And you could say a lot of the same things about Mac Jones.
You can definitely say a lot of the same things about Mac. Mac Jones was probably more ready to go. Mac Jones wasn't being spoken about as more of a developmental guy as compared to like maybe we've already seen Mac Jones's ceiling. But yeah, that's a good call out. He probably had a better receiver group.
Well, I'm just saying they had Cam Newton, they had Brian Hoyer there. They probably thought, oh, okay, we're not going to start Mac Jones. I'm sure if you go back and look, they were saying,
yeah, no, I don't have a count. I would be surprised if May starts. It seems like they're going to start Brissett. I think Brissett's still very good. I don't think he's Cam Newton.
Their receivers were Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, that's much better than what they have right now. Great point.
It's close.
Myers got paid. I mean,
I'm laying out the case for him. Again, I'm not playing him at 16-1, but I think Mac Jones similar.
He has more talent. I mean, if he's the guy and he shows up right away and he's great, maybe. But even then, even if you knew that every guy was starting, if you knew that Drake May was starting week 1, what do you make his odds? About where they are.
Yeah.
Is he, do you rank him any higher?
No, I'm just saying
maybe his odds are a little shorter.
You look at it's similar in a lot of ways, right? Like Mac Jones was what? He was the 4th quarterback take or no, Fields was taken before him.
Trey Lance,
Zach Wilson, and Goldilocks himself, Trevor Lawrence. What were his odds? Were probably like 20-1 to lead the.
He probably had decent odds
to lead the rookies. Again, just making the case. I saw producer Josh on Drake May. I'm with you though. I'm not going to fire on it. Bo Nix 8-1. What you were saying?
Sean Payton. They did bring in Franklin from who he threw to at Oregon. Troy Franklin. They have Marvin Mims, who Payton drafted last year. Cortland Sutton still around. They let Judy walk. A bunch of running backs. The win total is low. We kind of discussed it through that lens of really too low for a Sean Payton team. Seems like there's a certain floor there. I do think that Bo Nix might not be the best quarterback or the best talent. He's going to be put in good situations in theory, or it's not going to be him starting.
Now, how many yards do you think you need to win this award? I mean, a lot of it, I guess, depends on how high you are on Caleb Williams.
I mean, his total is down to 3,400.
Okay.
So, I probably,
but that's interesting. That's interesting because if you took the Denver Broncos 2 starting quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Jarrett Stidham, and basically combine their passing yards, assuming Bo Nix plays the whole season, is that higher or lower?
I'd say lower.
No, it's higher.
Oh, okay.
Russell Wilson threw for 3,070 and Jarrett Stidham threw for 496. So I think as much as Sean Payton's offense is going to rely on some of the running game, I still think there's some opportunity for some passing yards here. And I do think Bo Nix is going to be your day 1 starter.
Yeah, I mean, how good is the defense going to be? How much are they going to run the ball? They're going to be involved in low scoring games. I think Payton sees the division he's in. He sees that his advantage, much like the Raiders see, is going to. Funny enough, he's not that whole division. Just in an off season, the teams that aren't the Chiefs all turned into power football teams, and I think that's. I don't think Sean Payton wants Bo Nix throwing for 250 yards a game. I think the game plan is not going to be that. And so
I'm in on Bo Nix. Give me Bo Nix 8-1.
His big games, I think, come with the yak stuff, but I also don't know if he's starting. The Stidham situations. You want to talk about? Want a quick pause to talk about those odds?
Sure.
We'll go to it later. All right, JJ McCarthy 350. People love the offense in Minnesota. He's got Addison, it's JJ to JJ. Hawk will be back at some point. What are we thinking here?
Yeah,
about JJ McCarthy.
I think his path to being the leader in passing yards is certainly there, but just not. I'm not interested at plus 350.
Seems a little short, right?
Yeah, not interested.
I think I tend to agree. I do think there is great talent at the receiver for him, but this is the most interesting starting quarterback battle to me. You know, I'm a slightly enamored with Sam Darnold.
Oh yeah,
and I do think the pretty boy who had a very dynamic wife, Kevin O'Connell. I assume that was his wife.
I think, I think JJ McCarthy is the inside track to getting this starting job.
I would think so, but can he win it?
Yeah.
Jaden Dan. Yeah, I'm also out on McCarthy. I also think that the Vikings are going to be a better defensive unit. So I wonder, like I feel like a lot of their offensive production was the fact that they also sucked on defense. Jaden Daniels plus 280. He's a much more appetizing short price because you can see the ceiling. He's coming into an offense that does have a ton of talent. They have weapons. They added in the draft a ton of talent in the top 100 picks. Cliff Kingsbury, if maybe their defense is going to be complete trash. Although Dan Quinn, a defensive guy, he's gotten the most out of people. Kingsbury's offense should be able to move the ball. But this is a passing. If this was total yards or we were getting the rushing stuff, maybe I'm interested at a short price. But again, I'm probably out here. I don't know the best way to get in on a Jaden Daniels situation, but anything season long, like you mentioned earlier, hard to want to get behind. When we saw like Anthony Richardson, big as fuck, ready for the NFL, got the body. He couldn't finish more than 2 games in his rookie season. So yeah, I'm out.
No, Anthony Richardson built way more to sustain hits, and even he got knocked around, was knocked out. Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels' path, you nailed it. The offense is pretty friendly. He has some weapons. He's going to have a bunch of opportunity. He can probably create some plays running around back there. But one, I do think it's a legit injury risk, and then two, plus 280. Like there's just going to be a ton of competition. I don't think he's that big of a favorite.
We assume he's going to be the starter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Caleb Williams plus 110. That's the last. So this is one where rookie of the year is 2-1. Most passing yards plus 110.
I'll take a play on Caleb Williams at plus 110 just because the situation. Again, he's got Keenan Allen. It's going to be. I understand it's a Bears offense. It's a Bears quarterback. I think Caleb Williams is really, really talented. So I will take him. Rookies most passing yards, and I think that balances out. You take it at a decent price here at plus 110, and then it balances out some of the long shot stuff with Knicks and Penix.
I feel like I need to walk back and take a position on either McCarthy or Knicks, because I don't want Caleb Williams at the price or Jaden Daniels. They both have defensive head coaches.
Yeah,
which offensive which guy do I think has a better chance of starting?
Who?
No, I'm just in my head. I'm thinking whoever I think has
between JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix.
Yeah,
I mean Bo Nix is definitely going to be the week 1 starter.
Should we talk about it?
Sure.
Odds: Bo Nix minus 300. So maybe you're right. Jared Stidham plus 330. Zach Wilson 9-1.
Of course I'm right. Come on, Jared Stidham's not starting. I mean, Sean Payton took a ton of shit for drafting Bo Nix where he did. And Sean Payton is an incredibly stubborn coach. He also was gloating about how, they fooled the Vikings into moving up one spot because it was all a smoke screen with JJ McCarthy. He was smiling ear to ear. He is so in on Bo Nix. It would look like a tremendous fuck up if he didn't start Bo Nix week 1. He's already drawn up the plays for Bo Nix. Jared Stidham's got no chance. I mean, certainly injuries or something like that, but If both quarterbacks are healthy, he's making Bo Nix the starter.
So the Zach Wilson signing was just a ruse.
No, I think Zach Wilson's the ultimate
9-1 little value.
Nah, he's like that, Corvette you buy. Oh, it needs like complete engine rehaul, transmission. You put it in the garage. Hey, one day you're gonna work on it, but you gotta. It's not your everyday driver, right?
I'll take a piece.
The ultimate project.
I'll take a piece of Jared Stidham.
Okay.
I know Peyton likes Stidham. Who knows what's gonna happen?
But obviously he doesn't like him that much because he drafted Bo Nix.
Of course.
He didn't have a second round pick.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I think the plan is to start Nix, but I'm willing to fade that for plus 330.
Yeah, I mean you get injury.
There's a lot of things that can happen here. Vikings Darnold minus 160, JJ McCarthy plus 120. They don't know. This is an interesting guess. Darnold being minus 160 is interesting. I tend to agree with you from a betting perspective. You have to take the rookie with plus odds, right?
Yeah.
When the competition's Sam Darnold.
Yes. Who is Sam Darnold? What camp battles has he won out? I guess he beat out Trey Lance. But again, he was. You know what?
And go back and give me JJ McCarthy to have the most passing yards.
Okay. See, I don't like it because to me, McCarthy and Nix are somewhat similar. I guess McCarthy has a better situation when he starts, but I think the odds.
Justin Jefferson gets him 1,700 yards. Addison 800. Justin Jefferson's really good.
It's true.
We're about to find out when Kirk Cousins gets beat out by Michael Penix and we cash an 80-1. Patriots percent minus 550, Drake May plus 350. So based on what you were saying earlier, you kind of take a little peek at this and saying I'll take a little Drake May.
I'm in on May at plus 350. I know.
What do you think has to happen? Is it a preseason game?
Oh, Ryan, come on. These big markets. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. You follow now that they've cut down the preseason games, these joint practices end up becoming like preseason games. And I'm sitting there, I'm refreshing the beat writers' Twitter feeds. You're seeing clips, you're seeing highlights. Clearly the Patriots fan base has an impact on some of what's going on at the highest level there.
Well,
You're telling me Robert Kraft, who claims he's hands off, which again he likes, which is funny because normally he likes a hands-on approach. If you know anything about Robert Kraft,
you have to know when to come.
Great joke by me there.
Don't you fucking make that joke again.
Great joke by me there. Underappreciated by Ryan. Didn't even get a chuckle. But
I was making a roast joke there.
Oh no, I know your joke you're making.
Oh, I see.
I'm saying you didn't laugh at my pretty good joke.
No, it was an elite joke.
Thank you. I think all he has to do is have any sort of sexiness, any sort of flair. You get all these Patriots super fans on social media. Start May. Who cares about the season? Let him play. Let May play. It turns into a great chant.
Oh yeah.
It rhymes.
Mayday.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
And you're getting plus 350. We see this all the time. Quarterbacks who are drafted high, with the exception of Trey Lance, play early.
I didn't think he was as much of a developmental project as some were saying.
Ryan, you wanted him to start day one for the Giants.
I agree.
So
but
ball.
No, I think you have the whole thesis of this episode is take the rookies if you're getting this juicy ass plus odds on them, because your point is accurate. It doesn't take much, especially Robert Kraft.
Well, and especially they drafted him number 3 overall.
I think they don't plan on doing it, but things can change. So and for plus 350, I mean,
Jacoby Brissett is like is like a towny girlfriend that's a 6. You start trying to talk yourself into it. Oh yeah, it'll be a great relationship. Yeah, she's not the hottest. Yeah, she doesn't. Not the smartest.
She can make a mean sandwich though.
Yeah, her cooking's okay.
I'd say her cooking's probably pretty good. That's part of the. He wins games.
No,
that's the analogy.
If Jacoby Brissett was a great cook, it would be like minus 750. But Drake Mays, comes in there super sexy, doing shots, got his sweet cans out. I mean,
spits on it.
Spits on it. Jesus Christ.
Well, I was playing along with your fantasy land over here. Yeah, give me the rookies if you're getting plus odds.
So you're gonna also get JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, that's what Muse. I also think I'll parlay the McCarthy into him leading the rookies.
Okay. Yeah, because I again the Knicks -300.
I like his dad. His dad was pretty chill. We got to remember.
I like his dad.
We like JJ. We're gonna be rooting for him, so we gotta.
McCarthy. It is a shame he is not a New England Patriots. All right, Ryan. We got a little more rookie props to go. Before we do that, shout out to Royal Retros. Looking to prove you know ball. What better way to showcase your old school fandom than with some old school gear from a classic team? Royal Retros, jerseys, t-shirts, hats, jackets, sweatshirts, and more from the vintage sports leagues and teams you know and love. The Dirty Bird, the Orange Crush, the Sack Exchange, all make for 6 jerseys for real fans. Yeah, they just got a bunch of old school leagues, teams. It's pretty sweet. Just go to royalretros.com. Use the promo code SGPN. You get 10% off. That's royalretros.com. Promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Unified Health. That's right. Whether you're a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of both mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. I mean, these rookies, Ryan, they got to learn. You got to recovery is part of the deal. So I'm excited. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by the Energy Enhancement System, or EE System. If you haven't heard of EE Systems yet, you want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in LA or hundreds of locations across the globe, access to a center is both easy and affordable. Interested in experiencing the EE System technology for yourself? Just go to unifiedhealing.com/SGPN to learn more and find a center for near you. That's unifidhealing.com/SGPN. No materials or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE System.
You know, we're talking rookies right now. They got the first overall pick odds out, Sean, for next year. I wonder if the way to think about it, we should maybe do an episode with Colby. But I wonder if a quarterback doesn't go number 1 and people are making some assumptions here. We can maybe find some diamonds in the rough.
I like that.
I was,
but Colby doesn't like the draft, right?
No, but we just talk about the players with him.
Okay.
We trick him. We don't, the draft is so far away. He won't see it coming.
Shout out to Robert Martin in the YouTube chat, watching the Colorado Avs game in Canada, watching SGP on the main screen though.
I like that. We're huge in Canada.
We need we have so many Canadian listeners, Ryan. We have Canadian podcasters as part of the network. We need an official Canadian sound drop. I realize when we're talking Canucks here, I don't got any. Maybe it's like a moose cry. I don't know. What is it? I mean, you know, we have the kind of a skate sound effect, but we need an official Canadian sound effect. Maybe it's Canada.
It's the sound of a Yeti.
Terrence and
just a scream of a Yeti.
The South Park movie, one of those guys talking about Canada. If you have a good sound drop that epitomizes the country of Canada, email it in podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com. If it gets on the board, we'll hook you up with the SGPN gift card. So please.
All right. You want to talk rookie?
Yes.
Receiver odds?
Let's go.
All right. A handful more here. And I even shout out because, you know, I took a reasonable list from FanDuel, but DraftKings has like players just so their parents can bet on them or something, because they got tight ends drafted in the 5th round listed. Sean, I'll start from the bottom. Brendan Rice, he's 100 to 1. You're a good bloodline guy. Jerry Rice was a try hard. Any chance his son tries as hard as him?
Probably not, but I'll say this: 100 to 1. I mean, look at the Chargers.
Stop it.
No, stop what? I love the idea of, well, I mean, spoiler alert, I'm in on Ladd McConkey at 12 to 1, but why would I not be in on Brendan Rice as well at 12 to 1, or sorry, 100 to 1? I mean, there's a very real world where Ladd McConkey is the number one receiver. They have Quentin Johnson, who is in danger of, I think, could be cut.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? He's on a rookie deal.
Have you watched? John Harbaugh doesn't put up with bullshit. Quentin Johnson seems like
maybe trade him.
Yeah. All right. Quentin Johnson is in danger of not being on the team. He wasn't drafted by Harbaugh. He seems like an attitude guy. So again, maybe Harbaugh's able to fix him. Maybe not. Josh Palmer already has a Q next to his name.
Oh, he's the number one to me. Josh Palmer.
Okay.
Played like it last year.
I think Ladd McConkey can beat him out for the number one role. And at Ladd McConkey at 12-1, you have essentially a number one receiver potentially in this Chargers offense with Justin Herbert. I know they're going to run the ball, but this is still the NFL. Ladd McConkey's path to leading the team and leading rookie receivers is pretty generous, and maybe he is the number two, but still gets there at 12-1. I love Ladd McConkey, and then I will also take.
I think he could be the number one. I just think I'm just saying, like, Palmer's the number one receiver. Maybe McConkey's in the slot or something. Maybe he gets
the slot.
Him when they open the catch prop for rookies, that to me is a little bit more interesting for McConkey.
You're right, but I would say I think he could get a lot. He could get a shit ton of catches, even if it's low ADOT and he doesn't get a ton of yards after the catch. I still think he could get there just based off volume. Like him at 12-1, and then Brendan Rice, because there's just so much uncertainty in the Chargers receiver room. I'll take a shot at him on 100-1.
I do wonder. I wonder if the Chargers offense is going to be able to support a situation that allows a receiver to have enough yards to compete in this. I certainly think if you want to look down the board and you are a Drake May Patriots stan, you're talking about Javon Baker at 80-1 because he would be the rookie. Now I'm not interested. Also not interested. I figured we'd bring him up. Luke McCaffrey sitting there at 60-1 over there for Jaden Daniels, little target. Not interested. The guys that I'm interested in, I saw you marked one of them. Roman Wilson coming into an interesting situation, but in a similar sense to Ladd McConkey, but you're getting 50-1 odds on him, not 12-1. He's going to be in an offense that is going to be very difficult to lead anything in receiving. So you're probably needing some help.
I don't know about that, because I would say
it's Arthur Smith.
It's Arthur Smith, but it's also this Steelers
he likes to run the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, I would counter with this. Look at the Steelers' history of how well they've done in the draft, drafting receivers, and how well the receivers have done in their rookie years with receiving yards. A lot of the guys get 800, 900 yards, and yeah, sure, those offenses were slightly more pass happy, and we know. Arthur Smith doesn't like to take advantage of skill players that are drafted with a decent pedigree, but at 50-1, I'm 100% talking myself into Roman Wilson. Again, just based off the idea of the Steelers know how to draft receivers. Like you look at Mike Tomlin and that Steelers organization who've been there forever. Look at their track record at drafting receivers.
He took a plane to school.
Roman Wilson.
Yeah.
Built different, Ryan. Built different.
And yeah, I guess the answer would be you'd be talking about a Deontay Johnson type situation where you can, basically take over that role. And there's enough of it. Now, again, there's which quarterback would you prefer to hit this 50-1 banger with?
I mean, again,
probably got to be Russ, right?
Probably. But I mean, Justin Fields, he had some. I mean, certainly he's not an amazing passer. That's why he got traded. But I mean, compare him to George Pickens, Van Jefferson. That's who he's competing with. If Roman Wilson all of a sudden has a connection with Russell Wilson, I don't think that's. I mean, one, they share the same last name. I could see Russell being
Tyler Lockett. Anyone
being into that. So yeah, I think. I just like Steelers receivers. I trust their ability to draft them. So you're giving me a Steelers rookie receiver at 50-1. That's kind of all I need.
Mark me down for that one as well. I think there's good value there. And I would imagine you like Bo Nix. if you like Bo Nix, I think you got to like Troy Franklin, right? Little speedster. There's going to be some, if Bo Nix is getting home, there's probably going to be some nice stack opportunities here for you.
I'm also throwing Franklin in there at 40 to 1.
I think you got to.
Well, just because the built-in chemistry. I mean, we saw what Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow did. Obviously, they are much more talented and coming in with a higher pedigree. But I think there is something, you already have that built-in chemistry. They went out of their, I think they traded up to get Troy Franklin. Again, Sean Payton has his guys. Bo Nix and Troy Franklin are his guys.
Yeah, they played. I mean, certainly, I'm sure Bo Nix was one of those, maybe CJ Stroud, Tank Dell moments. Go get him. All right, so going up the board a little bit, Xavier Legette, Panthers. You buying any of the stock in Carolina? Ricky Pearsall, San Francisco. I mean, no, Ayuk's still there. Debo's still there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there a chance a trade happens? I don't think so at this point, right?
No, I think the trade's pretty unlikely. Again, I think he's kind of interesting in best ball because if a trade does happen, you're playing for ceiling in best ball. So maybe taking a shot on him late in best ball, I'm fine with. But to lead the rookie most receiving yards, there's just too much competition on his own team. You have Kittle, you have Ayuk, you have Debo, you have Christian McCaffrey catching out of the backfield. Like I think he's
Juszczyk still there.
Yeah,
you didn't even list him.
Yeah,
I got a helmet right back here, Sean.
I think he's interesting in best ball because if a trade does happen, whatever, and he's a skill player in a Kyle Shanahan offense drafted in the first round. Okay. He's interested in best ball. Maybe he becomes like a gadget touchdown guy, whatever.
Kind of feel like
but not receiving yards. Receiving yards, you need someone consistent. You need volume, and I don't see that for him.
Yeah, I'm also not sure he's going to be this elite guy. All right, Brock Bowers, 33 to 1. That almost feels impossible. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers on the team. Pierce wants to run the damn ball. All right, so this gets to another one of my guys. Donnie Mitchell. Shane's everything about this Colt situation looks good. This was a first round talent. I had him in the first round of my mock. They paid Pittman, but I certainly think he could put up some numbers. The way that this team played, they wanted to play fast. There is going to be a lot of opportunities, assuming everyone stays healthy. And who knows, maybe I'll be rooting for Joe Flacco down the stretch here. But I'm definitely taking a piece of a Donnie Mitchell here at 30 to 1.
I don't want to play too many, but 30 to 1.
This is a great situation. They're going to play with pace.
They're in a dome.
They're just going to play fast. Pittman's going to get attention. Jonathan Taylor's going to get attention. He's going to be the guy that gets the benefit here.
And again, going back to
and he has a true first round talent. I think that kind of is a little bit required on some level to get home. Interesting to me that he's on this tier with basically Brock Bowers, Jermaine Burton, who he's on the Bengals, but think about all the pass catching options they have.
Yeah, no way.
And then you have Polk, who played in Washington with Adunze. He got picked up by the Patriots as well, and so I would think if I was a Drake May guy, I would be taking Polk and Javon Baker here, and just saying fuck it, let's go for it. But I'm not interested. Brian Thomas Jr. 18 to 1. Interesting for me. Very interesting. I mean,
you can definitely talk me.
Mark me down on Brian Thomas Jr. We saw a little bit of the flash with the way that Ridley was happening at times. I do think it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be big chunk stuff. And I don't know how you feel about the Jags going into the year, but I think they're going to be a team that plays with some high variance, and they're going to have some games with some offensive output.
No, well, also his, similar to
first round talent.
Why I like Lad McConkey for Brian, for Thomas here, his path to being a number one receiver in that offense is somewhat realistic with Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk,
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, Evan Ingram.
But he's in my mind. Isn't he? It makes the Gabe Davis signing strange because everything you've heard about Gabe Davis is he was an inconsistent player. To me, Brian Thomas is their deep threat. To me, Brian Thomas is going to be the guy who stretches the field and going to be catching a ton of yards in chunks. And so at 18 to 1, love this price here.
Yeah, I mean, I got McConkey in the similar area, but I see the case for it.
So McConkey, the same price as Odunze and Xavier Worthy. Look, I love Odunze. He's the third guy on that team at best in terms of targets.
Yeah, and I get Caleb likes him. Again, he's a fun.
It's not enough to go around, right?
Yeah, I mean Keenan Allen is going to eat up so much of that.
And then I'm
Xavier Worthy. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know. I mean, maybe
he's a. Imagine this skinny motherfucker in a playoff game in Kansas. I just don't. Which guy? Who do we point to? Who's the skinny guy we point to? The Tavon Austin?
No, I mean
who are we pointing at? Which skinny guy?
What you point at is
Deshaun Jackson every time, but he's the only one.
But Deshaun Jackson even was heavier than him.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt was a skinny motherfucker, and he weighed 13 more pounds.
Yeah, what you point to is Rashee Rice last year, 79 catches, 938 yards.
But Rashee Rice is. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying you're in that Chiefs offense. You have Andy Reid designing plays for you. Rashee Rice is going to miss a bunch of games. I guess this to me is like I don't think he's big enough to command that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the situation. It's still hard for me to want to bet on him at 12-1. I mean, yeah, not interested. Keon Coleman 7-1.
Tempting. I mean, I see the path for him. At 7-1, I'd rather just roll the dice with some of these longer shots.
Play.
You do? Okay.
To me, this is I'd much rather have this. He's stepping into a role that carried Stephon Diggs to massive seasons. That's the case. I understand they want to run the ball more. I understand they're Buffalo.
Yeah.
But this is the guy we talked about in the offseason. He's the guy that tested poorly, but is like a good receiver. He catches the ball. The contested catch stuff is good.
I mean his path to number 1 receiving yards is there.
Plays fast.
He has Josh Allen as his quarterback. I think he's a strong case. I just at 7-1, I'd rather just roll the dice on these long shots.
And then Malik Neighbors plus 480, Marvin Harrison plus 150. No. I mean, if you're looking at just them together, it's hard to not. Marvin Harrison is in such a good situation.
Yeah.
The offensive, like having Kyler, having a run game that they only added to with Trey Benson, having Michael Wilson on the other side. Marvin Harrison is to me, Marvin Harrison's a better favorite than Caleb Williams if we're comparing the two markets, because I do think Marvin Harrison is in a clear 140 target. He's going to see all the targets he needs to get this, and probably if Marvin Harrison stays healthy, he probably wins, and that's mostly why I've sprinkled these longer shots. But Coleman's the one that I can't ignore because that's too obvious. If he steps into being Diggs, then he's gonna be right there, and you're still getting 7-1 on him. To me, he's not adjusted enough.
No,
and what did we talk about him a week ago? He was like 20-1, 25-1.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I gotta see what
Reek in the chat saying Malik Washington. I
skipped over him.
80-1.
80-1.
It's tough because you have Jalen Waddle, you have Tyreek Hill. Like they just eat up so much of the passing.
Well, the angle is Waddle gets hurt every year. So what if he steps into that role?
Yeah, I just think one of these other guys. If I'm not gonna,
I guess I didn't call out everyone's name. Is there someone down the board that you think could step into like an alpha role?
No, I mean I like Brendan Rice. I see the case for Malik Washington. I just don't want to. I don't want to fire too many darts, but
fire all the darts.
Yeah, my official plays give me Ladd McConkey 12-1, Adonai Mitchell 30-1, Troy Franklin 40-1, Roman Wilson 50-1, Brendan Rice 100-1. Right, I mean Jerry Rice is his dad. There's a chance
he tried hard. All right, give me Keon Coleman. I don't think his son tries as hard because he was a rich kid. Brian Thomas Jr., Donnie Mitchell, which is probably my favorite play if I had to pick one, and Roman Wilson. Ever since I read the story about him taking a plane to school, I was finding a way to bet on Roman Wilson this year. All right, I wrote down the yardage totals for the rookie. Marvin Harrison 1,050.5 yards. Malik Neighbors 840.5 and Odunze 675.5, which is pretty interesting. If you look through that lens, you know, I wonder what they would make Keon based on that. What's Keon Coleman sitting at then? Somewhere between Malik Neighbors and Odunze.
Yeah,
700. That to me is a smashy spot. Again, you have to. It's just targets. Who's going to get the most targets? Coleman has a very clear path to getting the most targets.
Yeah. I mean, Marvin Harrison. I mean, again, I understand why he's a massive favorite. I just at plus 150. There's so many other things that can happen between now and when the season starts. It's crazy. So, for these markets,
no one's even brought up his dad's alleged checkered history. I've done two radio spots.
They've done a really good job of scrubbing that.
I've done 2 radio spots where I refer to it as the and who knows, maybe his father's alleged checkered history will help him on the field. And no one ever asked the follow-up question of what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison. I would just say Google Marvin Harrison gun and just see what happens if you're interested in that kind of stuff. The truth is out there. I don't know, Ryan. Why don't we can save rookie receiving yardage totals, rookie passing yardage totals. We got plenty of season.
Yeah, and I was just thinking I should probably figure out when we're going to start the team previews.
Oh, when is that, Ryan?
I haven't figured it out yet. I was just thinking though, we're getting around that time where
we got to do our college football conference previews.
That's always a movable target, you know. Sometimes we do it early, sometimes we do it late. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But I do think that I know Colby's got me in preview mode because Colby claims to be starting previews potentially before Memorial Day.
Wow.
So he's been murmuring about the portal. I don't know.
He's portaling. Yeah, we got a good week of shows coming up, Ryan. We got a little hoops, little UFL. What else is on the slate, Ryan?
Yes, we are going to continue to talk about the United Football League. UFL, NBA. We got Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN on Friday, Sean.
That's always fun.
Yes, we were gonna maybe have an emergency episode this week because I thought originally the schedule would be dropping later this week. It is not. Next week though, loaded, Sean. We got
a schedule release show. We got the Preakness PGA Championship.
You have to know when to come.
That's the sign of me hanging out with Doris Burke.
Smash that subscribe button. Appreciate everyone in the chat. Shout out to Robert Martin saying he's talking about the Steelers drafted a Canadian a while back. I think Chase Claypool is probably who you're referring to. Mapletron, all-time nickname. How could we forget? Mapletron.
Well, we didn't forget, and who could forget when he celebrated a big game with a lipper for the first time, and he had to cut off his interview to spit out the lipper because it was quote
such a head rush,
so intense right now.
And send in your Canadian sound effect, and it has to be from someone in Canada. If you're,
what do you mean?
Maybe not. I'm open to it. Mapletron.
What if you live near the border?
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
So send in
50 miles.
Yeah, send in a Canadian sound effect. I want to have one on the board when we get our Canadian listeners checking in. Appreciate everyone tossing us a nice rating and review over on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Spreading the good gospel of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Make sure you check out the Patreon episode with CJ. His gambling journey, very, very funny. And of course, the featured podcast on SGPN this week is the MLB Gambling Podcast. Baseball is grinding it out day in, day out. So many games, so many opportunities to cash some winners.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Never turn your back on a moose.
Kramer, let it ride.